Alright, and now instead of just saying I'm gonna start that 383, let's get on to that. Alright, so LT1 is done. Now it's time for the 383. So here, we got our brand new stroker crank. And we're gonna come over here, we're gonna mic up all these little journals, your rod journals, your main journals. That way there we can clearance the block and rods. So let's get to that. So here's our box of brand new rods that we're gonna size. Alright, so another little tip. Woohoo! Don't drop it. When assembling anything that's gonna be torqued, little screws, you're gonna wanna apply some sort of lube to help it so it'll get a proper torque spec. So without this lube, you don't know. So what you wanna do is just get that in your threads, a good amount, and then right here underneath the screw head, put some right there. That way there, the surface where this is seating onto the cap is also lubricated with your threads being lubricated. Alright, now let's get back to the time lapse. Alright, so what we have here is called a dial bore gauge, and this is how we're going to size the rods. You have these different metal pieces to go in right here, and I'll give you your different length. Like this is a 2-inch one, 3-inch one, 4-inch one. And say once you got it on 2 inches, you have this indicator over here you can turn, and the largest of the journals on the crankshaft was 2.0990. So that's what I'm going to set this to. And you have different lengths depending on your length. It's got a little chart back here that tells you which piece to use in the gauge. You just screw that in there. It's going to have to move a lot further in than that. Screw that out some more. Screw that in. Alright. So you line it up until it measures at a 0. Like I'll show you this other part here in a second after I get it set up. And you lock it into place once you got it set. Good tight. Zero it out. Alright, so there's that, and let's show you the second part. So up here on this end, what you're doing is you got a preload right here, and then you zero it out, and so at 2.0990 with this gauge, if you measure the bearings, it will show you how much clearance you have. So let's get to that. Now, there's a trigger on the side of it, and that right there allows the back here to collapse so you can get it into what you're going to measure, and then you release it once you're inside the bearings. Alright, this rod's already been torqued down, so you decompress it, stick it inside, and then release it. And then you can tilt it, and you'll find up here, you find your tightest spot. So it looks like right there is our tightest spot. That is 2 thousandths and 4 tenths. So I'm going to say 1, 2, yeah, 2 thousandths and 4 tenths. That is bang on spot where I want it. Alright, we know that one's good. Alright, now, give me just a second. Okay, now you want to break the torque on your rod. So it'll be easy to get apart when it goes time to assemble. But now I'm going to take the rod itself. I'm going to look at my chart where I wrote all the clearances down for the crank itself and pick which rod I want this one to go on. Because if I go with rod 3 or 4, it'll be perfectly on the 2 and 4 tenths of clearance. So we're going to make this rod number 3, and so I just write 3 on it. That way later when I go hang the piston, I make sure I line the piston up correctly for cylinder number 3. Alright, now, as always, repeat steps 1 through 8. And that is that. Well, as soon as it goes off, it locks itself into place first until it actually clamps in and grabs onto the pin. And then you'll be able to move it again, like that. That center there, looks good that side and that side. Yeah, buddy. Alright, the heads have been assembled, the rods have been pushed on. I'm going to let these cool off while I wait before I put the rings onto the pistons, because otherwise I can't really touch them right now. But anyways, we're going to get up front and clearance the block now. Alright, the mains work just like the rods. We're going to put the bearings in here, put the bearings in the caps over there, put them back on the block, torque them down, use the dial bore gauge again, measure it, make sure everything fits the way it's supposed to, and then we'll take it apart as long as everything is good and install the crank. So get to it! Alright, just got through checking the clearances on the mains, and unfortunately the first, second, and third are all too tight. It only has half a thousandths of clearance, which is not going to be enough. The back two are fine for some reason. I don't know what happened to these front three, but something has tightened them up. Luckily, I don't need that much more clearance. I believe I'm going to be able to, I already had these on the shelf because I've run into this issue before with building motors, and these are extra clearance bearings, so we're going to put those in there, recheck those first three, see what kind of clearances we're getting, and then hopefully start putting it together. Well, we're still having issues. It seems the extra clearance is giving too much clearance on the first and the third. They're at 3 thousandths of clearance, but I got this one to 2.5. These two back here are already 2.5. So we're going to half shell the first and third, which basically what I'm gonna do is these standard bearings, I'm gonna take and put one of these in, and then the other half will be the extra clearance. So let's get that apart, get those put in, and then we'll put the crank in. All right, we got the cylinders cleaned up, everything's ready for the pistons to go in. I still haven't put the rings on the pistons yet, but by now they probably had time to cool off. So let's go get the pistons, get them up here, get the rings on them so we can start putting them in the motor. Another vlog has come to an end, which means it's time to smash this like button right here, click on the share button over here, share this vlog with anybody you think might find it interesting, comment down below, let me know what you thought about the vlog. If you haven't yet, make sure you subscribe to my channel, ring the bell, that way there you'll get the notifications, and we will talk with you later. Whoosh.